Hey guys. Hey, a question that comes up all the time in the seminars we give is, how long will it be before I start making money? How long will it be before I see a profit? And I'm going to answer that question a couple of different ways because people ask it in different ways and they have different meanings. So, let's compare starting an Amazon business to starting a brick and mortar store. If you have a brick and mortar store, you've got a variety of investments that have to be made before you see the first dollar in business. You have a lease, probably some type of security deposit. You have utilities that have to be connected. You have the store upfitting, which, depending on the size of your store, can be from a few $1,000s to tens of thousands of dollars that you have to outlay before you do any business at all. If you're a clothing store or virtually any type of store, you need some type of merchandising racks. You have to buy all of those yourself. Everything you see in a retail establishment, that store owner had to buy. So it can become pretty pricey pretty quickly. With Amazon, you don't have any of those. Your actual investment is primarily for research tools like Jungle Scout. Maybe a camera if you don't have a camera that's suitable for taking product photographs. But for the most part, you are fairly limited in terms of your initial outlay, how much you have to spend. Probably your largest outlay is going to be for giveaways so that you can get reviews going. So you have that expense to anticipate, and you'll also have some pay-per-click advertising on Amazon to help drive customers to your product. That's probably going to run in the range of a few $100s. So it's nothing like starting a brick and mortar store. As far as making money goes, and actually seeing a profit, what I tell people to anticipate is something on the order of 60 days. You'll start making sales right away. If you've got a good product and if you've done your product research and your advertising is working, you may see sales on the first day. And those sales may be significant. But I'm just saying, in the overall scheme of things, I tell people 60 days. Most people will see a profit within that period of time. But of course, there are variables, how much time you put into it, how much you spent on your pay-per-click advertising and how targeted that advertising was, how quickly your reviews came back, and I'm assuming that the reviews are going to be 4 and 5 star reviews for your product. So there are some variables there, but if you've done your product listing properly, if you've got good pictures, maybe a video or two showing the product in use, if that's appropriate, you've got good reviews coming in, you should see significant sales within 30 to 60 days, and it would not be hard to imagine you recouping your initial investment in the first 60 days or so. And from that point forward, what you make after your cost of goods and after Amazon fees and whatnot is actual profit for you. So you can see profit very, very quickly. I want to just lightly touch on a case study because I think it also may reflect on this question a little bit. We had a couple that had taken my seminar about 2 years ago come back this past spring and kind of speak to a class, and I thought their situation was a pretty good example of where a lot of people find themselves. This couple had been married for 5 or 6 years. The lady was an assistant manager at a fast food restaurant, and she made about $35,000 a year. Well, she was pregnant, and she was going to have to quit her job, and she wanted to find a way to replace that income that she had, because the family needed it. They needed it to keep a roof over their heads and eat. And their incentive was to just get her to a point where she could quit her job and match her income from what she had been making at the fast food restaurant. Well, they started off with $2,500, or actually they said about $2,350. I think they had counted their pennies and had really gotten things as detailed as possible. But they started off with one product. The product was a good product. It performed well for them. And I don't know what their monthly sales were, and I'm not sure if they ever mentioned how long it took them to actually see a profit. But I do know, and this was the reason that they were speaking to this class, at the end of the first year, they had made $79,000 in actual profit. I don't know what their total sales were. I don't remember if they said what they were or not. But of their total sales, $79,000 was actual profit. And they had pulled out $45,000, which, if you remember, that's actually more than the lady made at her fast food job. But they pulled out $45,000 in salary, if you will, to pay themselves. So they left about $35,000 in their business to buy new product and to add additional products in the following year. But they put forth very little time. From what they said, they spent combined, the man and his wife spent about 6 hours a week dealing with their online business. They had no major issues to report, no problems really with customers, no problems with Amazon. And I would think overall that was a very good experience. Now, if they had been able to leave that $45,000 in their business that they took out, obviously their business would have grown much, much, much faster. They started taking money out probably in their second or third month of being in business. So, having those funds come out of the business, there's nothing wrong with that. That's why you're doing this. You want to pay bills. You want to buy a car. You want to pay for your house or your apartment. That's why we all do this. So there's nothing wrong with that. I just want to make the point that if they had been in a position where they could have left that money in their business, they might be going into their second year with 5 or 6 or 7 products as opposed to 2 or 3 products. But certainly, the more money you can leave in the business, the more money you can dedicate to your advertising and to new products, the faster your business will grow, the stronger the growth curve will be, or the steeper the growth curve will be. So keep that in mind. But for those of you who are kind of scoffing and saying, "Oh gosh, that's what is $45,000 in a year?" For someone who was working 50 or 55 hours a week to make mid-30s as a fast food manager, all of a sudden she's making $45,000 working 6 hours a week as an Amazon FBA store manager or seller, if you will. The change there is dramatic. A significant raise and about a 90% reduction in hours worked. So that's huge. Once again, the second year, I would anticipate they will do significantly more business, and things will just continue to improve for them. But I hope I've answered your questions about, how long will it take for you to make money. I think this was a good example of, if you need money right now, if you're looking to replace a job, how quickly you can do that. And I also think it's a really good example because if you're just looking to supplement your current income, let's say this lady wanted to keep her job as a fast food manager. All of a sudden she'd be looking at her mid-30s salary there, in addition to an additional $45,000 or so from her online activities. And that's basically it. So anyway, hope this answers your questions. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave any comments you have in the boxes below.